Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talk Scottish Football. We're here today, not quite in podcast format. We're in a wee bit of a... I don't know if we're going to title that podcast. I know we've priorly discussed
so much planning and preparation goes into our work.
I know, but at the end of the day, we're only here to talk about two teams and two teams only, and that is Celtic and Rangers ahead of tomorrow night's Europa League group stage openers. European football's back, baby. How does it feel every year watching on and seeing us?
Are you excited?
Well,
or are you just
naturally,
terrified?
Yes. If you've watched my video, you would know, mate. But obviously, David
I've been busy today.
Support my channel. It's fine because the video went up yesterday.
Well, tell people I've been out and about with Sharp today recording a wee video. This might go up before his video. So jealousy wasn't invited, obviously.
I was getting out of bed at 9:15 this morning. I'll tell you that. When you're working to midnight the night before, that does not happen easily. But Celtic and Rangers are back in action on the Europa League stage.
Wait.
Oh, we've not even addressed it. Aye, Super John. How's that?
It's finally coming on a little bit. It's not as bare as it was. We need a few more bits and pieces just to build on it. But
put it all together. Wee bit behind me. David thinks a Scotland flag's too tacky.
Ryan wants a big Scotland flag on the side there. I mean, we're not a fucking tourist shop. Jesus Christ.
It's like the Tartan shop, the tune.
Exactly.
They play the remixes of the Beatles and all. The Scottish version of Drive My Car. Maybe you can drive my motor. Anyway, last year...
Have you seen the video that guy sang the song about? It's like, I'm in my caravan. Have you seen that?
No, I don't think so.
There's a guy who sings a song about him in his caravan. It's fantastic. Check it out on YouTube or Twitter.
The only thing when you talk about music that involves a caravan, do you remember the song The Caravan I Love? No. Every woman, every man, join the caravan of love.
Don't come and knock him when the caravans are rocking.
Right, finally, Celtic and Rangers back in Europa League action tomorrow night after last year's success. I mean, it was unbelievable last year what Celtic and Rangers both accomplished on the European stage. Of course, Rangers made it to the last 16 of the tournament, knocked out by Bayer Leverkusen. Celtic
should have done better though, both of them. Well, maybe not Rangers. Celtic should
Rangers
have
done their best.
Celtic should have
surely.
done better.
Celtic should have. It was disappointing when Celtic were knocked out to the hands of...
You're right, over the piece it was very, very entertaining.
And ultimately it's improved us on the European front.
What was the Lazio score last night? 3-1 victory against Dortmund. Celtic beat them home and away last year.
So technically Celtic are better than Borussia Dortmund, but we
won't
go into that yet.
Better than who they beaten recently.
There was a big chain on TikTok I seen, so it was like Celtic beat Lazio beat Dortmund.
TikTok? You ever been on there before?
Right. You're funny.
You're
funny. I know, especially after last week. But it was a big thread, and apparently Celtic are ultimately better than Bayern Munich, so that's what matters. But the two big games tomorrow night as the campaign kicks off once more. The road to Baku is on again. Sorry, no Baku, Gdansk.
It's been Baku for a good few years now.
Baku is just, I was just remembering the chant, man. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
what a chant.
Away.
What a brilliant chant that was. But we'll start off with Rangers.
Kick-off.
I suppose we've spoken about Celtic so much in depth recently, and we're getting a good Rangers falling together. So let's start there. Rangers heading over to Belgium to take on Standard Liège, who go into this game with 4 players lost due to the coronavirus, and that is massive. So 4 players, and that is Michael Lange, Balikwisha, Nicholas Rashkin, Musa Sissoko, and goalkeeping coach, it's only 3 players and 1 staff, sorry, Jan van Steenberg of Standard Liège. They've all tested positive. That surely gives Rangers a boost of confidence, like going into this game.
They don't need a boost of confidence in Europe, Rangers, just now.
That's what I was about to say.
They should have every confidence based on their own performance.
Going into this game, I think Rangers could have been playing a full strength Standard Liège and more, and they would have still been confident going into this.
It's absolutely mad, and it's such a testament to the work Steven Gerrard's done that I think Rangers go away in Europe tomorrow night and everyone expects them to win. Yep.
Ultimately, I think what Gerrard's best achievement has been with Rangers has been the development in Europe. They've become a threat there again, and it wasn't as if they were embarrassed by Leverkusen last season either. They put their work in, they held them to their own, and that's great. Well done to Gerrard, and well done to the Rangers players who have managed to up their game every single time they go and play these games. Standard Liège, of course, not an easy team to get past. It will be difficult, and I'm sure there will be those over in Belgium fancying them to take the game to them, but I don't see how you could look past Rangers in the form they're in at the minute, the way they played at the weekend, the motivation that's behind them, and their record in Europe ultimately. This is unbelievable what the Rangers team are playing like at the minute, and quite rightly I think Steven Gerrard will go over with bucket loads of confidence. And you're smiling as I say that. It's not very often you'll hear me give Rangers a lot of credit, but I mean it's on a show.
It's hard to ignore their record in Europe, and I think even teams like Standard Liège will look at Rangers and go, God, I don't want them in the draw, especially with what they've done in Europe recently. They've made really good teams look really, really average. What they've done to Porto in recent years, the Braga result last year, amazing. one thing that'll be interesting is, remember how much Morelos shone in Europe last season in the group stages? He was absolutely fantastic. I wonder if this will be where he finds his form, because he tends to play really, really well in Europe. Incidentally, the only time these teams have met in Europe before was back in the quarterfinals of the European Cup in 61-62.
How long did it take you to find that?
Very quickly, actually. Quick Google search is not a problem. Professionalism there. And Standard Liège beat them then, but Standard Liège haven't been out of the group stages since 2012. Rangers obviously did that last year. It's one of those where Rangers will have absolutely full confidence. I think the team selection will be interesting. Obviously, Rangers have got this thing last year where they took Europe so seriously. They didn't really make an awful lot of changes. They kind of kept a settled team, one or two maybe in the midfield.
And that's the thing. I think that's a real credit to Gerrard for a moment, just to touch on. He's not done too much wrong in terms of changing what he's doing right. You know, I think a lot of managers get this problem where they try and overthink it, they try and change things up game after game, because depending on the opponents they are playing, and Gerrard's not done that.
Back to John McLaughlin, because at the start of the season he was interchanging between the two, and McGregor's kind of got in now.
Can I just very quickly add, when I was not reading out the injured player names, it wasn't Musa Sissoko, it's actually Musa Sissako.
I was thinking.
I know, I just thought it was like it's quite a common name, I'd imagine, with the French kind of named players. So I thought it was probably just a coincidence, but it turns out it's Sissako. I'm just reading a bit further on there and seeing it is not Sissoko.
So yeah, I mean, there will be a couple of changes, I imagine, for Rangers. I imagine Ryan Jack will probably come back in.
Yep.
I wouldn't be shocked if you saw Jordan Jones come in for Barker.
Yep.
Apart from that,
I think John Jones, one player I don't feel we've spoke about enough on here. I feel bad for John Jones because I think he's a great player. I think he's a good footballer, and he took that, and that was a wonderful finish against Motherwell as well.
People thought he might get the chance on Saturday in the Old Firm.
Yep. I would like to see him get more of a chance. He's one player that you hear. He gets rant and rave about.
He's a hard worker.
He plays well for Northern Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a similar setup to Rangers in Europe. Northern Ireland, when they go to these countries, tend to be, maybe they're not going to dominate games, but they want to have threat on the counter. Although, in saying that, I fully expect Rangers to go over there and probably have most of the ball. But yeah, Ryan Jack will probably come back in, you'd have thought. The thing is with Rangers, they've got so many, whether it be Kamara, Davis, Jack, Aribo, Arfield, any of the midfielders, they're so used to playing in these games now that any of them will slot in and do the job admirably.
And that's the thing. We always for years spoke about how Rangers' depth may not be as good as Celtic's, and potentially when you look at it, and
I think that's out the window now. You look at the bench.
That's what I was saying, potentially now. And I would love to say, my usual phrase I usually go for is on paper. Now, I love the phrase on paper because everything's beautiful on paper, but after Saturday you could say that Rangers bench just looks maybe
really, really strong. It looks stronger on Saturday than Celtics did for me.
And,
I tell you,
let's calm down there, David.
Because they're not playing. No, I'm still going to stand by what I said there. Because Griffiths and Rogic aren't playing. If Griffiths and Rogic are at top form, I'd understand otherwise. But I think likes of who was guys like Hadji's played loads of football. Rogic hasn't played any football, so I think
well, that's what I'm saying. My favourite phrase in the world is on paper, and if it was a perfect world, we could say so. But you're perhaps
won the 10 on paper.
You're perhaps right that Rangers right now have a stronger bench.
All the players Celtic were missing.
I know, and it'd be great. Honestly, I would love us to turn around and be able to go, Tom Rogic is fit, ready to play, and all that.
And even Ajax back from injury.
Yep. So it's really frustrating. But Rangers group, we look at it, we fancy them to go through, don't we? Let's be honest here. You're looking at a group: Benfica, Poznan, Standard Liège.
Benfica's the big one, I think.
Benfica's a big one, but even at that, Rangers showed last season they've got no problem heading over.
Porto and Braga in recent years,
they've got no problem over there. And these are two teams. I think Benfica's a team who've been on a kind of slow decline as the past few years, and Porto's a team.
I feel like we've got these things with teams like Benfica, Anderlecht, Standard Liège are a great example, where we think they're going to be so much better than they are.
Yep.
Because
of what they were. Aye, and it's the same.
Do you think that happens with Portuguese people hanging out with Celtic and Rangers? Do you think that they still think Celtic?
That's a really good point.
Are
no, I think
that team, and I think Rangers are the European.
Well, I certainly think that exists down south. I think that if Man United, Arsenal, Leicester, whoever else in Europe of that level were looking at us and drawing us, they'd be like, oh yes, rubbing their hands, But I do feel like there is a sense of respect from a lot of these European teams.
It comes with good results,
for the club. I think especially when I've headed over to 2 away games now in Europe, both of them of quite high opposition. Valencia, Lazio, of course, one set of fans far more welcoming than the other. But even when we were sitting in Rome, for example, and we're in a cafe getting something to eat, the waiter was a Roma fan. He was a massive Roma fan, and he was talking up Celtic with quite a bit of respect.
That's the thing. Celtic and Rangers in these European games, they're not out of place at all. It's where they should be.
Yep, exactly.
So listen, Rangers.
But it is odd. I get exactly what you're saying, because if we drew It's the same, right? AC Milan, it's hard to say because AC Milan right now have started their season fantastically.
How many times they won the Champions League? 6 times they won.
But right now they've started the season very well. But if you take that exception away, they're
years,
not as good.
Great, we always think AC Milan.
AC Milan, aye. As soon as the draw was made, it was like, oh dear, AC Milan.
Because the first thing that comes to everyone's head is like Inzaghi, Kaká, Seedorf. That's what comes to everyone's head straight away, even though like they're just a shadow of their. Well, they have been in recent years. But yeah, Rangers, I fully expect them to go and win that.
It's only the start, of course. Long way to go.
Yeah, of course.
I expect them to go through the group. I do expect them to go through. Last year they finished second in the group, didn't they?
Who, Rangers?
Rangers. Yes, and Celtic topped the group.
Who topped Rangers group?
Was it Porto? Was it Porto?
No, Porto wasn't.
Did they go out?
Can't even remember who was in their group, to be honest, but no, you're right, they finished second.
They finished second because Celtic
did not play Porto the year before.
Oh, God knows now. My head's away with it. My head's gone. Anyway, Rangers, Lech Poznan, Benfica and Standard Liège is the group anyway, and we fancy Rangers to go through, but tomorrow night is the start of it all. Rangers at advantage, 3 players down for Standard Liège.
And just the fact that I think they should be a better team, I want to say.
What a name that is, by the way. Michael Ange Balikwisha, who is one of Standard Liège's standout players, left winger this season. 6 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists. What has been a decent start for the league campaign.
Listen, I don't think it matters. They're getting beat tomorrow night.
Okay.
I'm going to say 2-0 to Rangers.
Calm down, your big boy nose.
Stop crying, mate, alright?
Mate, I'm not going to stop until we get retribution. That's when it'll stop. I won't stop crying till then. Anyway, let's move over to the better side. Glasgow Celtic. Celtic tomorrow night are at Celtic Park. We're at home. We host, as we just spoke about moments ago, AC Milan in a game.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, but
the most interesting dynamic of this game is he's 2 goals away from overtaking Henrik Larsson as the Swedish top scorer in European club competitions.
Still no better though, is it? Where's his Champions League medal, mate? Where is it?
It's
some player,
It's absolutely written in the stars that Zlatan's going to score 2 tomorrow night, isn't it?
No.
It absolutely is.
Nah,
He'd probably score more than that, to be fair.
Can you? Right, okay, we have one bad game against Rangers and you think we're the worst team in the world. I'm going to pull you up about this. This
is what pisses me off, right? The amount of Celtic fans who we're getting humped on Thursday night. See when somebody else says it. Hun bastard, man. It's just horrific.
No, I can understand where you're coming from, David. In all seriousness, let's break the.
I actually don't think Celtic.
Let's break the biased Celtic fan out of it for me to do. I do understand completely what you're saying when you come from that aspect because I've already spoke on YouTube and I've already said my thoughts and I've already made them very clear. I don't feel confident going into this game. No. Do I feel like AC Milan are going to hump us? No.
I don't think it'll be as bad as everyone thinks it's going to be. The whole Zlatan thing written in start is just it would be an interesting dynamic.
It's a nice.
But I don't think Celtic are going to get battered tomorrow by any. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think they'll get battered at all.
Nah.
I think they'll probably get beat, but.
Well, do you know what the weird thing is?
Like Rangers, they were really good in Europe.
When this group was drawn, I fancied us to take 9 points from Celtic Park. I don't think easily. Let me just make that very clear. I fancied us to take 9 points from Celtic Park, but after the performance on Saturday, that is what's just kind of put everything down the way. Like that's what's made it really annoying. One big positive: AC Milan will be missing Hakan Çalhanoğlu, which is beautiful. Apparently he's out for 10 days or so. But of course, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is off the back of scoring 2 against Inter Milan in the derby, and that just says it all. AC Milan, a team who, when we drew them, I was thinking to myself, I'll take that, I fancy that, because Lazio are a better team, and Lazio done better than them last season, and we managed to beat them. AC Milan have now started the season 4 wins out of 4. They have beaten Inter Milan, who were finalists of this competition last season, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic looks like he's still a 22-year-old that can score whenever he wants.
AC Milan are obviously great. Çalhanoğlu, however they pronounce it, 10 goal involvements in his last 7 Europa League games, 5 goals, 5 assists, so he's a big miss for them. I think this is the perfect distraction for Celtic. I think it comes at a perfect time for them.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I do. But
you think so?
More so if there was a crowd there, because no matter what happened at the weekend, the crowd would bang up for that tomorrow night because it was AC Milan at Parkhead, and it would be the perfect distraction.
I want somebody to come on and slap the keeper again.
The lack of a crowd might not mean so much, but Celtic will still have, I'd imagine Edouard will play tomorrow.
I hope so.
Christie's back, isn't he?
Well, this is the dilemma. Let me bring on my point to you, David. You're Neil Lennon. God help me. You're Neil Lennon, right? And you have just watched that disaster unfurl at the weekend against Rangers, right? You've sat there, you've had your snooze, you've had some time to chill and think about things.
Time to chill? He chilled for 90 minutes on the bench. He didn't do nothing. He just sat there.
Right enough. But you had your time to think. Would you revert back to the 4-2-3-1 tomorrow night? Would you? Simple as straightforward as that? Yes. You agree with me then? You agree with me?
Yes.
Do you know how that...
It worked in Europe last year.
Yep. And do you know how badly I want us to go back to the 4-2-3-1 tomorrow? I'm going to tell you how I measure this up. I'd take Christie playing the right wing.
I
That's
don't mind
how
Christie off the
badly.
right. I don't mind him off the right. I think
Speak for some.
I don't mind him off the right.
Just shows how quality football you're watching.
Listen, Celtic did well with 4-2-3-1. The 3-5-2 only works if you've got the right components fit and available. If you try to shoehorn boys in...
But right, okay, let me introduce this point to you as well, right? Let me say this. A lot of people were raising the point on Saturday afternoon, and I don't know if it was just the typical, we've just been beat, let's all moan sort of mindset, but a lot of people are saying 3-5-2 is great for playing teams like Hamilton, Dundee United.
It's just
all the rest of it. I don't have an opinion on it. I like the idea of 3-5-2 being used and developing it to the point where it becomes our primary tactic.
To fit it.
Right, okay.
It's not an
so your opinion is that the 3-5-2 can work against these bigger teams.
Yeah, of course it can. Because you can easily shift it, and if you have to be more defensive, you've got a back five.
Mm-hmm.
Just as easily. You play Taylor and Frimpong, you got a back five. You play two up top, and you've got an easy way of getting out. You have three across the middle. It'd be okay. But the issue is Celtic at the weekend didn't have the components to make the 3-5-2 work. It wasn't like people have got this in their head. The reason Celtic were so good when they went to that formation was just because of the formation. It wasn't. It was because Griffiths was in form. He was linking up well with Edouard, and the team were a constant threat going forward. It wasn't like if you'd have played like we saw on Saturday, Klimala and El Younousi. The formation isn't what makes it successful. It helps get the best players into the formation of the team, like you did with Griffiths and Edouard. But unless you get the players on form and your best players on the side, it's more difficult to adapt to play to a three. Players are naturally used to playing with a four at the back. So, I think it works if you've got the right components. Celtic, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Griffiths start at the weekend. I don't think he'll start on
See, this is the thing. This could be... You're saying... So this is a point I wanted to bring up towards you earlier because you brought this up. You said you don't think it could come at a better time for Celtic this game, especially if there was fans. I am on the exact opposite side of things. I don't think it could come at a worse time.
Do you not think the atmosphere, if there was fans somewhere, would be great?
I don't get a toss about the atmosphere at the minute. I think, obviously, I would love us to be in part, keep fucking singing our hearts
out. You would rather...
No, right, so but this is my point. Let me finish my point.
That's what you just said.
Right, okay.
So if say Celtic had, like, after the weekend, they had Hamilton at home on the Wednesday night with a crowd, that would be horrific.
Right, but let me counter this. Let me counter this, and I think the majority of Celtic fans would be on my side and agree with what I'm about to say. Right, so we get beat off Rangers at the weekend, right? We go and play AC Milan tomorrow night, we get battered. We play Aberdeen at the weekend, we struggle. We then play Lille, we lose. But then, what would you rather come off the back of
being
Rangers?
Europe or not being Europe?
No, but like say because obviously the whole schedule of things is messed up, right? We shouldn't have played Rangers at the point of the season we did. Usually it would be earlier on. Things usually work a bit differently. That's not an excuse before anybody tries to clip that into an excuse. Just making that very clear. But what I'm saying is, would you not rather a bit of confidence with Celtic pumping somebody like Hamilton 4-0 at Celtic Park post Old Firm defeat?
You think they'd pump them 4-0 at the moment?
Well, have you seen
Imagine
Hamilton? Sorry, what was the score with Hamilton?
I know, but this is the thing. It's a difficult game to... If you play Hamilton on the Wednesday night, the atmosphere's going to be shite because everyone's still raging from Saturday.
But Celtic have a tendency to come into the games.
But they've also got a tendency in the last year or two to turn up in the European group stages.
I understand where you're coming from, but I'd rather play Hamilton. There's no changing my mind
there. There's no 3 points in the line. Like the league pressure.
There's 3 points in the Europa League.
Yeah, but it's not important. This season it's not important.
Okay.
It's not.
Right.
In the grand scheme of things, who cares? Because ultimately all that matters is the league. We've said this so many times. Whereas if Celtic were to go, if they get beat off AC Milan...
I honestly think it could have come at a worse time playing AC Milan. Because
what I said was if there was a crowd there.
If there's a crowd, I can understand where you're coming from. I'll give you that. But the fact there is no crowd, and the fact that we could potentially go back-to-back defeats in embarrassing manner is a car crash waiting to happen.
He pressured Neil Lennon, but I think he gets pressure on him regardless of what happens.
I know, and that's why I would rather play Hamilton on Wednesday night this week or Thursday night this week and potentially put 3 or 4 past them. Of course, that's no guarantee with the way we are playing at the minute, but there's a far better chance of that.
You draw 0-0 with AC Milan, you're quite happy. You draw 0-0 with Hamilton. I mean,
don't start me.
Exactly.
Don't start me.
What do you expect? Do you expect Celtic to beat tomorrow night?
I don't expect. No, well, you can't. As a Celtic fan, you can't go into this game and expect us to get beat. That would be quite a pessimistic attitude to go in with. I think that would be.
You expect Celtic to win tomorrow night?
I don't. I expect us to draw. I said that. I've predicted a 1-0. Look, I think if we go back to the 4-2-3-1, we could take AC Milan in a kind of
did well last year.
The same way that how we did
year.
with the rest of these teams. I think these teams will underestimate what we have moving forward, and you see what happens, and what we done really well at in Europe last season was the opposition's defences. We dragged them into areas that were uncomfortable. We took defenders out of the equation. It's a big similar story, but like a lot of criticisms came under like Harry Maguire and the United back line for situations where they've not taken leadership and watching players that they don't expect to do certain things. And I think Celtic have done unexpected things to get goals. And like you look at James Forrest scoring last season in Lazio, like I don't think anybody expected the danger to come from the position he ended up shooting, and they just kind of let it happen. We got that goal over in the Olympico, and then the goal came late on. Like I think what we're really good at is just taking these moments in games where the opposition have fell asleep.
It's a similar thing to what we said with Rangers, how they suit European football. There are players in that Celtic team who have thrived in Europe. Like Ryan Christie, I think, had a really good group stage last year.
Yeah.
He had loads of good games. Forrest, another one who's done well. Edward as well, thrived in Europe. There is a different dynamic to all of these games that might, for Celtic, the pressure of not having a league game, players go, right. And this is another aspect as to why I think it's a good game, because these Celtic players love the opportunity to prove them. Listen, they're all trying to put themselves in a short window, let's be honest. Like Edward especially. If he goes and scores 2 goals tomorrow night,
Yep.
and that's him back in the shop window again.
Yep.
What a motivation for somebody.
That's
who wants
a
to win
very good point.
They have stood up in these games, like last season especially. Then, like you look at like the Cluj game and the Copenhagen game, they weren't as high profile. They perhaps didn't do as well. So there might be that sort of aspect to it as well.
Ultimately, look, I think Celtic fans are mainly pessimistic going into this game. There is a negative. There is a Celtic Park shaped cloud amongst us all. And I think that.
Sound like Chick Young.
Yep.
There's a cloud.
There is an Ibrox shaped cloud above me this evening. But look, ultimately, you've got to remain a wee bit of optimism in there, just a wee bit of come on. That's it.
So you've got that wee bit of come on about you. You wouldn't have it if you were pulling Hamilton. You'd be going, oh, fuck, let's get this game over, well, I'm done with, get it out of the road.
I take every Celtic game as seriously as the next. You're laughing at. I do. Right, well, do up predictions. Let's go. Celtic
Rangers.
Rangers.
Did we give a score prediction for?
No, we'll do it now. Celtic. Right, so you start us off. Rangers and Standard Liège.
Rangers 2.
And you say Standard Liège 0. I'm going to go for Rangers 3. Standard Liège 0.
You big blue nose.
Shut up. I'm going to go for a 3-0. Do you know why I'm saying that? Because if Standard Liège go and beat them, then it'll be a good wee.
It'll be a good laugh.
Nice, that'll be good. Celtic AC Milan then.
AC Milan 2, Celtic 1.
Celtic 1.
And I think it'll be a slightly encouraging performance for Celtic fans. I think they'll not feel as glum post-match despite the defeat.
Celtic 1, AC Milan 1.
Nice.
1-1 draw.
Can we talk about the last time Celtic beat AC Milan at Parkhead? Because as a kid I loved that game. I remember
You're thinking of the wrong game,
was it not the last time?
Nah.
Have they played them since?
Yeah, we played them in 2000 when Kaká went back in 2013. I think it was quite good that night.
I'm just thinking of Scott McDonald.
You're thinking of that game, of course.
Yeah.
That's the main one.
What a game
Did
that was.
Gondon hit the deck?
What even happened there, man?
Do you not remember it?
No, but like what was he
thinking? So the fan ran on the park.
I don't know what happened. What was Dida thinking?
I don't know, man.
What? He actually got stretchered off.
That's so funny. Derek Gray's commentary.
Do you think there's a whole side of his brain that's like, why did I do that, man? The thing is, once he's committed, he can't all of a sudden stop. He's got to follow through with it.
To end off, because I think
a little bit of that.
We were aiming for half an hour. I think we've been going for about 20.
Imagine like Gavin Strachan rip the earpiece off. And
yeah, Gavin Strachan's a popular man on Twitter now. Have you seen him?
He's
getting the blame for everything.
That earpiece, what's coming through?
Right, okay, quiz to end this off. And it's not exactly Scottish football related, but it is related to one of the clubs that are playing on Thursday night against Celtic. That's AC Milan. So it's just a bit of fun. I'm going to give you. You've got 8 minutes.
A bit of fun.
What do you mean a bit of fun? That's a bit of fun.
Well, I don't have a Scooby-Doo.
Right, well. So can you name?
Probably not.
The 26 players. I'll give you a clue for each one and see what we'll walk backwards because that'll be easier. Can you name the 26 players to have played for Inter and AC Milan since 1995? Right, we'll go. Right, hold on, we're going in order, right? Inter Milan from 2012 to 2015, AC Milan from 2013 to 14, defender from Uruguay.
I got Scooby-Doo, mate.
No, got a clue. Okay, we'll pass.
Uruguay,
we'll pass. I thought it would be Godin, to be honest. That was my guess. It's no Godin. It's no Godin. It's like Salt. It's like Salt, surely. Oh, he's not gone in. It's not like Salt, apparently.
When did he play for Inter?
That's who he signed for originally when he went out early. I don't think he ever played though. Inter Milan 2011 to 2012, AC Milan 2012 to 2015 from Italy.
I don't watch Italian football. Italian forward.
Right, okay, name any off the top of your head you can think of then. So you've said Ibra, okay, there's one.
That's all. It's 26.
So that's at 26, aye.
In recent years. I don't watch Italian football. I'm not a fucking heavy.
Well, we can work through this together. Turkey defender for the early 2000s. Right, we're getting up.
Right, give us another one.
Midfielder from Ghana, Inter Milan, 28 to 2012.
Boateng, no?
Milan,
Montari. Ex-Portsmouth.
Montari. Oh, correct, there you go, to a 26. No
problem to me.
Brazil forward, Inter 2008 to 2010, AC 2010. Adriano, let's see.
Did he play for AC? I don't know.
No, it's not Adriano.
Alexander Pato, did he play for Inter?
Oh, Pato. No, it's not Pato.
Don't know, man.
It's quite hard, isn't it?
Don't know.
Quite difficult.
Ronaldo. Big Ronaldo played for both.
Big Ronaldo. Yep, that's one. There you go. That's 3 out of 26.
What a start, by the way, boys. 3 out of 26.
Jesus, Johnny, yeah.
Any other easy ones in there? Recent ones?
I can't see any that are... Because I don't have the answers yet. Right, we're getting up.
Why don't you get the answers and then...
Right, okay, I've got the answers. Right, okay. Defender from Uruguay, played for...
Caceres, no?
No, it's... I don't know if it's the same one that played for Man United years ago.
Uruguayan defender for Man United.
I don't know if it's the same one. It's got the same second name.
Varela, no?
No, it's a different one. It's not the same one that played for Man United.
It's Uruguayan, that
Right, I'll give it. It's Silvestre.
That's
Okay.
not Mikel Silvestre, did he mean?
No, it's not. No, it's not. Lifted his shirt up in the Manchester derby.
Balotelli,
there's one. Big defender. Very big defender. Played for Juventus for a long time. Italian.
Chiellini.
No. International.
Bonucci.
There you go. There's one. FIFA icon. Manager. No.
Inzaghi?
No.
Baresi?
No.
Maldini?
No.
I don't know.
Crespo.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Champions League winner with three different clubs, I think. Is it 3 or is it 2?
What nationality is he?
Dutch.
Seedorf.
Yep, Seedorf. There's one. Let's see if I remember these one. Juventus legend.
Pirlo didn't play for Inter.
Pirlo.
They're all absolute turncoats. What's that all about?
More specs on the pitch.
Edgar Davids.
There's one. Arsenal legend, French.
Vieira.
There's one.
We're getting through this.
Let's see who else. I don't know how you got. I don't even know how to call it for a couple of the modern ones. There's 2 Italian forwards that play for 2 of them. I don't even know.
Are they currently playing for either of them?
No.
I've heard of either.
Yeah, you would have, but I don't know how. I don't know what clues to give you. I honestly have no clue. We'll move on. The Brazilian forward has the same name as a manager who won the Premier League with Manchester City.
What?
Brazilian forward has the same name as a manager who won the Premier League with Man City.
What, Pellegrini?
No.
Or Mancini?
Yeah. See, I couldn't give clues to the rest of these boys. Honestly, you've done well. So the 26, very quickly, we'll go through is Christian Brochi, Patrick Vieira, Roberto Baggio, Mauricio Gans,
the ones I didn't get, to be fair.
Francesco Coco, Edgar Davids, Taribo West, Ronaldo, Gulli, Andrea Pirlo, Thomas Helveg, Dario Simic, Christian Vieri.
Oh, Vieri, man. Good should have got him.
Dražan Brnic, Clarence Seedorf, Umit Dvala, Hernan Crespo, Giuseppe Favali, Leonardo Bonucci, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Mario Balotelli, Mancino, Suleimantari,
Steve McLaren did this,
Antonio Cassano, Giampaolo Pazzini, and Matteo Silvestri.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the 26.
Talk Scottish football, yeah. Italian internationals rhyming them all.
Yeah, they won the World Cup in 2006.
They did, yeah, and they cheated at Hampden a year or 2 later. Poor Alan Hutton.
Right, well, that does it for today's show, the European preview show. David, it's been a pleasure as always. I'm looking forward to talking about Celtic beating AC with flying colours on Friday, which will be a good laugh. Preview the weekend, full-fledged podcast, back in action. Anything to say before we turn off the camera?
No, I think so.
Nice. Like and subscribe. See y'all next time.